Well, we titled today's show Wild Week in Review, and I think we're ending up with another one of those wild weeks in review, with a wild day today in review. And when we say that, we mean all over the map, wild swings, but when all is said and done, we will talk outcomes. Because leave no doubt, this market right now has specific themes, and they are not the themes of yesteryear. That's the best way I can explain to you. A whole new thingamabob is going on. Hey, this is Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, serious talk on everything that affects you. The markets, the economy, your job, your industry, the Morlocks in D.C. Go look up the word Morlocks. You'll know what I mean. Because, well, we explain that to you every day. Because we're being told today, oh, we're fixing up the debt and deficits, and growth is going to cure everything. From the same people who took over in 2017 and ran up deficits like there's no tomorrow. Who do we believe? Anyway, so we will cover whatever we need to cover. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. And if you don't follow us on X, you should. Just put our name in. And if you'd like to email us, just be nice. By the way, we'll also be on the YouTube channel of BizTV. So when we say to you, wild week, let's talk today. You know, the Dow finished up 48 points. Yippee-yay-yay. Right? The Dow was down today. Let's see. The close yesterday, 49,451. We were down 370 points on the open. One of the causes was Goldman Sachs was down $33 immediately today. Goldman Sachs finished up 59 cents today. $33 and change. Do you know how many Dow points that is? I'm about to tell you. Only 215 Dow points on one stock in the Dow and bounces. But we rallied up to 49,743. We were up 300. And then finished up 48. Oh, and by the way, I think a few minutes before we were actually down in the Dow. So just your average 700, 800 point swing in a day. Where Goldman, the most important name in the Dow because it's high priced, the highest price, just moves $33 from the lows. That's just today. Oh, yeah, and the NASDAQ. Let's see what the NASDAQ did today. Well, it closed at 22,597 and was down 195 points right near the open. Right near the open. It rallied up 296 points within a half hour. So we're up 100. We dropped that 100 pretty easily. But at the highs, we were 22,742. We're up about 150. The NASDAQ finished down 50. Dropped 200 points into the close. Oh, and by the way, with about 5 minutes to go, it was actually down 100. And that was just today. The week was just sheer insanity. That's how I can put it. The NASDAQ was down 2.1%. The NASDAQ 100, 1.37%. The Dow was down, let's call it 1.3%. The S&P, 1.4% or approximately. The Russell 2000 was down about 1.5%, if I got that right. Yeah, I'm about right. But it was all over the map this week. Daily swings. Yesterday we were down 600 and something and 400 and something, Dow and NASDAQ. What gives? Don't know. We also had unbelievable movement caused by artificial intelligence. In transports, in brokerage, in insurance, in banks. And today they bounced, but still way down. And it has me asking, what possibly can be next? What possibly can be next? I hope nothing. What they are saying is, oh, by the way, they also got consulting companies. What they are saying is, all this advancements in artificial intelligence is wreaking havoc, or will wreak havoc in these industries. I can safely tell you, and honestly tell you, I don't have a clue. We're finding out that the transports got squashed by a company who's famous for one thing, a karaoke machine. No, I'm not making it up. They put out something about artificial intelligence and this, that, and the other thing. And they squashed it. Now everybody's reporting, this is ridiculous, this is nothing. It's a karaoke machine company. Okay. Well, C.H. Robinson Worldwide still finished down 12% this week. Expeditors finished down 11%. Landstar finished down 12%. It's on the week. Beats the heck out of me. Just letting you know. A crazy week. I can safely tell you, I could have owned those transport names. I would have been stopped out on those transport names. I could have owned Schwab. We had owned it and we were thinking about buying it back. That was down 11% this week. I would have stopped out. Because we don't know what's behind the door. So just letting you know, it was a wacky week. But there's what we call outcome. What's the outcome of the week besides what we just told you? And we repeat, we don't know what's next for these areas. They clipped the insurance, brokerage. Oh, I forgot. How about the software? That was last week, dropping them 20%. They've bounced a little bit, but no great shakes. You may want to spend a few moments in time studying artificial intelligence. I don't know if you can get anything out of it. I've been studying it, and I'm still confused. I've been watching video of some mucky mucks that are supposedly the genius of artificial intelligence, and watching the videos, and when I'm done with the videos, I'm saying to myself, huh? Up next, rest of the market. This is the one only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So let me start off by saying what ain't. There were a lot of months where we would be doing this show and saying, avoid housing, avoid transports, avoid industrials, avoid materials, avoid anything economically sensitive, avoid most retail, and avoid most of what we call stuff, chemicals, and you get the list. For months, we were saying, boy, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, Oracle. Well, we're here to tell you they continue to act really poorly. And let me describe for you, they call it the Mag 7, but we think it's the Mag 8. Apple, just reporting the news. It's for 3 or 4 months has done nothing up until the last 2 days. It's been one of the big lagging techs, but that's because some of the semis and the AI names have been strong. I really don't know what gives, but yesterday was down almost 14. Today, Apple's down another, let's call it 6. Let's call it $6. Apple itself has dropped $20 in 2 days and is trading below where it was in September and is up 2% now in 1 year and broke below the 50-day yesterday with volume and furthermore today. That's Apple. NVIDIA, which is the number one name, continues to has done nothing since August, but did make one move to the highs, $212 in October, but came right back down. It's $182 today, down another $4 after reversing yesterday and finishing below the 50-day, purely in range-bound action, purely. But again, is now down a couple of bucks since August, while the semiconductors have been strong. Broadcom topped out at 414 in November and is 325 today, and can't get back above the all-important 50-day moving average. Amazon was 248 about 9 days ago. It's 199 today. And, you ready? You have to go back to September of 24. Stock has done nothing and is down from the high of 258. These are the biggest names. Google's been acting great. Not anymore. Now, it's only down, let's call it about 349. It's 306. Not the end of the world. What, 14, 13, 15%? But also broke the 50-day moving average and in not great shape. Microsoft, well, you know about that. 553 to 401, gap down on earnings. Biggest and best. Meta, Facebook, topped out at $796 in early August. It's 639. That's about 20 some odd percent, so not the biggest drop, but it ain't helping. Tesla topped out at $499 in December. It's $420 today. Okay, about 17%. Not the end of the world, but weak. And these names have such influence over the big indices, they, instead of being the tailwind, they are the headwinds now. I had to move Apple off my decent side yesterday. The only big name right now with what I would call a little oomph is Costco, which is probably 10 or 11. And I got news for you. It's trading at 55 times earnings, which calls into question how far that's going to go. So we're just letting you know. The institutions are still not jumping for joy on these mega cap names. And there are actual ETFs for this area, the MAG 7. It's MAGS. It's big top in place, down to the 200-day moving average. Not great. But the most important part of it, not just 7 stocks. Well, I have it. There's 8 for me. They're a gargantuan influence, meaning they're like in the 30s of the S&P and in the 60s of the NASDAQ 100. So I just want to start with that because this is not something that came out of nowhere. Not something that came out of nowhere. It's been going on for a while. Now, Oracle is not in the NASDAQ, but that's the software. 345 to 160. Qualcomm is in there. That's gone from 206 to 140. I forgot Netflix. 134 to 77. And brutal bear market for the stock. 24 and 34, 58. 1326. 40 some odd percent on Netflix. So just letting you know. And I've loved these stocks in the past. It's what we used to talk about. Market doesn't love them at this juncture. Market does not love them at this juncture. Up next, what does the market love or like as a friend? This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So let me just go through sector by sector. Gold and silver. Number one, gold is much stronger than silver now. Much, much stronger. As we had said to you, they had a 2-day massive drop. The GLD, which represent gold, went from 510 to 422 in 2 days. Last I looked, that's 88 points on 510. What is that, 16, 17%? In 2 days. The PHYS is the physical gold, they say, 42 to 34. That's about 18%. Maybe even 19. And we had said to you, typically when you get such a drop like that, it's going to take some time. And guess what's happened? It's taken time. And that vertical move has not been overcome. in the last 2 weeks since that 2-day drop. But I must tell you, I'm kind of impressed with gold, how it's held up pretty well versus the silver. And the gold miners actually a little bit better than the gold. As long as GLD holds the lows of yesterday, and by the way, it got trashed yesterday, I think it's in decent stead. A break below a 448 on the GLD, then you get in a little more trouble. Silver, much weaker. And I'm just going to say much weaker. And has hardly bounced. Actually, excuse me, it is below that 2 days drop. And in case you don't know, the SLV dropped from 110. Currently, it's 69. Let's call it 70. Last I looked, 35, 36, 37%. Silver dropped 35, 36, 37%. Somewhere around there. Keep in mind that was after a 100% move, over 100% in a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. So we'll keep you informed on that. The drop was a big wow. And yesterday's drop was a big wow, and of course they gapped them up a little bit today. But again, silver nowhere near as strong. As I scanned oil stocks, I've got 75 of them that I found that have good patterns or are even extended. Oils. As oil prices have gone higher. The USO with spot price has gone from 67 to 76 in 4 weeks, down from 80. But oil stocks, very strong. And some of them, we have this software we use. Some of them just showed up on our screens in the last day or two. Symbols I've never heard of or have ever seen. In pipelines and the like. Some don't trade much. Some do. Oils. Now, at the pump, prices have gone up. Prices have gone up over the last week or two. We'll keep a watch. Oils. Chemicals. Auto original equipment. Transportation equipment. Heavy-duty truck parts. Power equipment. Containers and packaging. I'm looking at Crown Holdings. I believe it used to be called Crown Cork and Seal. They make steel and aluminum cans and metal caps. And then you have Packaging Corp of America. Container board and corrugated packaging for food, beverage, and paper and agricultural markets. This is what's hitting my screens. I look down at their earnings and I'm like, ugh. But I got news for you. That's what's hitting my screens. Illinois Toolworks. Metal fasteners. Breaks out on single digits. Lear Seating. Seating and electrical systems for automotive OEMs. How about Iron Mountain? PPG Industries. This is what's hitting my screens. Ball Corp. Aluminum packaging for beverages. 5% drop in earnings. I hate those. We're just letting you know. That is where the money's flowing in the market right now. Terex. Capital equipment for construction and mining. This is what's hitting the screens. And they're showing up daily. Ingersoll Rand. Machinery. Hitting our screens. There's your story. Things that were dead. Never moved. Did nothing. Getting the love. Transports dropped 800 points yesterday because of whatever that happened with that company in AI. Back up 300 today. But the transports was 16.5 in November. They're 19.3 today. As FedEx and others in the group. This is my screens. Utilities, they're now going. Why in the last 3 days? 10-year yield, last 3 days, 4.2 to 4.056. Go look at the XLU last 3 days. Make it 4 days. 43.82 to 46.5 in 4 days for utilities. Hitting my screen. Oils, utilities, machinery, industrials. A lot of them with terrible earnings. And Deere, only a 14% drop in earnings. Quarter before 24%, quarter before 22%, quarter before 60%. They report in 6 days, probably another drop. That's where the money's flowing in the market. What does it have to do with? I gather the GDP. I gather. And what ain't happening? Them mags. And of course, plenty of other areas that are not doing well. We've mentioned them. We're not going to get into them today. But just letting you know, that's where the money's flowing. And housing. Toll Brothers, they report next week at yearly highs. Pulte almost there. Green Brick, GRBK is there. Why? 10-year yield dropping like a rock. Which, by the way, is good news. Is good news. There's your stories. Up next, what else? I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. You know, I got a lot of input from you guys on my Epstein talk. And just remember what that was about. The cover-ups. But it's the cover-ups by whom? The people running this country. They covered it up the whole 4 years of Biden, and they're covering it up now. Redacted? Why is anything redacted? It's we the people. We have every right to see this. Do you know this Nancy Mace came out and said you'd be sick to your stomach when you find out who is in this? She said politicians, celebrities, chieftains, the whole works, yet we can't know that they went into a private room and nobody will divulge? What are we, living in Venezuela or Russia or North Korea, they hate us. And speaking of that, you know the other part of the equation, and I don't pull any punches. The guards weren't guarding. Somehow the camera wasn't working. And the head coroner, Dr. Biden, the number one coroner in the world, says, oh, this was homicide. And they just came out quickly and said it was suicide. Well, it's starting to bubble up again because guess what? Article came out last night. Dr. Jeffrey Epstein's post-mortem, he was there for it, says he was strangled, not hanged. And who is this article on? Dr. Michael Baden, who I told you about. He says this must be reinvestigated, even though it's 7 years past. That he's unconvinced by the conclusion. He says it was strangulation and not hanging. And it's a sin that no investigation into the cause and manner of death was really put the screws on. In this day and age, me, your handsome and buffed host, have to come out and state to you this cover-up. I still believe JFK. Same thing. You know, they didn't know there was a video. The Zapruder film. They want you to look at the film and tell you, no, there's not a second person. Though the bullets came from two different places. And they let it die. And I'm not a conspiracy person. I'm an evidence person. There are people that think we never got to the moon. Bullcrap. There are people that believe an inside job, 9/11. Bullcrap. There are people that don't believe a plane went into the Capitol. Not the Capitol, the Pentagon. Bullcrap. But these two things, we've been conned. And again, what does it tie into? Me and my job and my money. These are people running the country. These are the people making decisions on our lives and the markets and the economy. And you want to trust them? Anyway, just my thoughts. Continuing as we segue back. It's one of the biggest changes of playing fields I have seen in a major long time. Foreign markets are beating our butts right now. For a long while, that wasn't going on. Japan. It took 30 some odd years to get back to the old highs. But it's gone en fuego. The one Asia place that ain't is China. Still very weak. It's had its moments, but certainly not a major move to the upside. Other foreign markets, dang. Now, they will move better than ours because they're less liquid and easy to move more, but dang. That's the story. And of course, there's some retail that's strong, but there's also a lot of retail that's weak. There's some medical that's strong, but there's a lot of medical that's weak. You already know about the managed care HMOs that have been destroyed. Auto dealers, no. Restaurants, well, a few tried. They're all sinking like a stone now. Insurance stocks, boy, oh boy, were they blasted. So not everything, but you would think we're in some sort of industrial age. And maybe we are. Because that's where the money's flowing. Even though earnings and sales, not much there. That is the story. Building, construction, energy, chemicals now. I've even had to mention the word chemical and I can't tell you how long. Names that I would never even have to think about. Allison Transmission. The heck is that? By the way, drop in earnings of 28% and a drop in sales of 16%, and it's at a new yearly high. That's my world. Till next week. We're off Monday. Have a good 3-day weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. They will be well. Always thanks for joining us. Until then, peace out all. Good night.